Hi, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. It is Thursday, sometime in April. I'll have to check what the date is and put it down here what the date is. 27th. Thank you, Deal. We are in my Winterport Stream Road yard, and I've got some colonies here that I want to move a few of these colonies from this location to my Hamden location. So what we're going to do today is show you how you transport bees on a relatively small scale. I mean, commercial beekeepers will go in there with a lift or something like that. Little guys like me, what we need is extra pairs of hands. And what we're going to do is prepare a colony to be moved and then transport it to a new yard. Now, in this particular case, we're moving them about 10 miles. And that means that the bees will have no problem about orientating themselves, because they're going to go to a totally new area and none of their flight path will cross with where they would have been flying if they'd been here. If you move a colony a very short distance, you can get confusion and bees flying back to the original location. But the beauty of having multiple yards which are more than a couple of miles apart, you don't have that issue at all. So we'll just be moving these hives and giving them a new start elsewhere. So let's get started. I'll show you what we're going to do. What we're going to use, we'll take a few ratchet straps, grab those, and we're going to take a few pieces of screen. And this screen, basically, this is a perfect day to transport bees, because 99.9% of the bees are just in the hives itself. And commercial guys, they won't bother blocking the entrance of the hives, but hobby level or small levels like me, it doesn't take a great deal just to put a piece of screen in the entrance and make sure the bees I don't lose many bees on the way, just because they will come to the entrance and fly about a bit during the disturbance. So all I do is have a pre-cut piece of screen which can slip in the entrance, and we won't have to worry about bees getting lost on the way. Now, it's useful to have, you can do this early spring is the best time, because the hives are at their lightest right now. They're smallest and lightest. Now these colonies have already grown, and we've already added a second deep onto them. So these are 2-story colonies. So this would be typical hobbyist level size for the time of year. And just watch our step along the way. So we're going to move this one, and this one. So I'll just try not to disturb them too much, not bang things around. I'll take my screen. So that will allow plenty of ventilation. This temperature, not a big issue. During the summer, you may not put a screen on there, because if you were transporting bees in high heat, you'd be better off not putting a screen on at all, because they need to ventilate properly. And this will allow them to ventilate, but it won't allow them to ventilate vigorously. So there's no risk at low temperatures to move bees this way, but at higher temperatures, it could be a risk. So at higher temperatures, you're probably better off accepting the fact that the bees may do some flying. Now we'll take one of those ratchet straps. This is where having 2 people starts to become quite handy. Might be easier to film from this side, I'm not sure, but Neil, if you stay here with me. So I'm going to tip it, and you can string it under there. Try and get it right to the middle. Push it back to the middle if you can.
Okay, good. About that.
Oh, we've got some escapees here. We didn't close up perfectly, but this is going to do the job. It'll stop the top coming apart, the pieces. So all we have to do now is make sure we're not going to trip over this, which would always be hilarious doing a video when you fall down holding the beehive. Okay, so what I'll do is now in theory, I can just move it like that, but there's quite a bit of honey in here, so we're going to do it together. One second. Straight back. Lots of rocks on your right.
A few rocks, just a few other things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some spoils, so we got okay. The side one here. Yeah. There's a lot of honey in this hive. Good job we're not doing it in the fall. Okay, we'll use the next side to push it in with.
Okay.
One down, two to go. This is a lot lighter. Nice. Oh, bees coming out the top as well.
Ew.
Yeah, do the same.
A little lighter this time.
Yeah, a lot better. Let's go
The same
this way
path.
wider, yeah. So another idea would have been to clear the things out of the way.
That's it.
And the other thing is not to kid yourself that the bees won't be coming out even though it's cold. They're coming out right at face level here when you're carrying them, of course. So I've got an entrance up here, which we're not blocking. Two down, one to go. Now this one I'm going to take the... Where are you? Okay. With this one I'm going to take the insulation off because that's in the way of carrying things. So let's carefully try to do the minimum disturbance. You can see we've got plenty of bees up here. Try not to disturb more than we need to. This will just make it a little more awkward to carry them if it was left on. Okay. Oh, that's the hive.
I didn't see that.
That's handy.
Just happened to be there.
Just happened to be there. Okay. Let's see, let's shorten this up a bit.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Nice.
Good.
I believe so.
We go right this way, probably.
That's a bit good.
First one is definitely the heaviest.
Yeah. Now, you can improvise. I would not recommend moving them the way I used to move them as a kid. Not as a kid, but acting like a kid. About 15 years ago, no, it was probably only 10, I was moving hives and all I did was staple the hives together, staple the bottom board, staple these, and just a bit out of breath. And the funny story is that I was moving some hives from my backyard because my son was getting married, and I had one particularly mean hive in the backyard that I was tolerating, but most certainly didn't want it in the backyard during the wedding. And so my sister gave me a hand moving that hive to take to another yard, and I stapled it all together, screen in the entrance, and we're just bringing the hive along here. My sister's not quite as tall as I am, and we hit the bottom and knocked the bottom board off. Ooh. And all of a sudden there's a bee started to come out. Ooh. Right in the middle of the driveway.
Wow.
Fortunately we had our suits on and just waited a bit for the bees to go back in and eventually move it, but since then I moved on to ratchet straps, far more sensible. Yeah. Okay, let's take these home. Okay, so the bees have survived the journey, and we're just going to take them and set them down in the yard and set them free. Go heavy. Okay, let's put the first one on behind the white hive over there.
Right behind the white.
Yeah.
Got a little heavier since we left, huh?
Yeah, they have. I think. Okay, we'll move them all first.
Okay.
Give them a chance to settle.
As long as we don't trip, we'll be out.
Yeah. place them both this way.
Going for this pallet?
Yeah. Good. Oh, just overhang the pallet.
This will be the heavy one.
Yeah. One second.
Yes.
Let me just need to, we'll back it up. Won't need necessarily reach all the way to the corner down. I'll count up my stuff.
It's a ratchet strap, whatever. Yeah, we got it.
Okay, so now a little ticked off.
Not too bad. This one looks
All we'll just do is take the straps off. Good. And then pull the screens down. Now, this is where you want to make sure you had your suit on. And anyone who is watching wants to put it off. These bees come out a little ticked off. They don't like the transportation.
a little bit. Those ones there are a little bit madder than the.
Yeah. They'll calm down in a second. And then they'll realize, oh hell of bells, this is not where we live. Where's my hive?
Where is this place?
So in the next few hours, there's going to be a lot of orientation flights going on around here. So right now, they think we live up here on our suits.
Right, right, apparently.
So we'll just go and brush the bees off, and they will find their way to their new homes. These girls will settle down in no time. They'll smell home, and if they don't go back to their original hive, they'll go back to one next to it. Now, we did that, we let them out right away, and that's always, you're asking for that sort of reaction, basically, because they've just been stirred up, they only just got here. But if you waited an hour or so and then took that off nice and carefully, you'd hardly have any reaction. But either way, a little bit of smoke would also help do it, but don't have time to put smoke on all the time. Anyway, those are 3 colonies successfully moved. I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.